Hello girls, I hope you're staying safe at home. So today we start another new chapter in biology, that is skin, which is also known as the jack of all trades. Okay, now you know the skin covers our entire body. Now, the skin is not just a simple covering of our body. It is one of the most active organs of the body. So, one word answer, the most active organ of the body. What will your answer be? Skin. Okay. And it has different functions. It functions in different ways. Many of our recognizing features comes from our complexion, the pattern of our hair, which you find on the skin. The most apparent feature of an aged person, a healthy youth, or a small infant is the texture of the skin. Now, if it is an aged person, then the skin will be wrinkled, tight and smooth in case of a healthy youth, and very soft and tender if it is a baby. Okay, so you will know about why the skin is known as the jack of all trades. Okay, and remember children, it belongs to the integumentary system of our body. And another thing is, you must remember, the skin is the largest organ of our body, most active organ of the body, largest organ of the body. It accounts for 15% of an adult human's total weight. So 15% of your weight is your skin. Okay, and you know the skin is an almost impermeable barrier. Impermeable means it does not allow anything to enter. Even the smallest of bacteria and viruses cannot enter through the skin. Now, what is skin? The skin is the outermost covering of the body, you know that. Okay, and it is stretched from the tip of our toes to from the tip of our fingers to the tip of our head. Okay, and it is stretched all over so that it forms a layer. There are many structures and glands which are associated to the skin and which is also derived from the skin. Now, the functions of the skin, also known as the integument, has many functions. The first and foremost, since it is an outermost covering, it always protects. So it is protection. Protection is the primary function. Primary means the main function of the skin. So how does it protect our body? First, it protects the underlying tissues. Underlying tissue means the tissue which is under the skin from mechanical shocks. So if you fall, first your skin will be grazed or wounded. Okay, so underlying tissues will be saved. Next is it holds the body fluids inside and does not allow loss of water by evaporation. Next is it prevents harmful substances or disease causing germs from entering our body. It is almost impermeable, a wall through which nothing can enter. It also protects the body against excess ultraviolet rays, which is otherwise, very, very harmful. So the skin also protects our body against the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Next is sensation. You can feel. Okay, it is a sense organ for touch, pain, pressure, heat. You can feel everything in your skin, isn't it? Now, next is temperature regulation. The skin prevents loss of heat in cold weather, keeps you warm, okay, and it facilitates loss of heat in hot weather. So later in this chapter, we'll be learning how this temperature regulation is done. Okay, next is storage of food. The skin stores reserve food in the form of layer of fat contained in special cells. If you remember, adipose tissue. Yes, so it is found in the skin. And next is excretion. The skin also helps in the process of excretion through sweating. Okay, so when the body sweats, what comes out in water? Salts and to a very limited extent urea, very less. Now actually sweating, when does it take place? When it is very, very hot. So that is temperature regulation. To cool down your body, sweating takes place. Okay, so actually the skin is not an excretory organ. Okay, incidentally, when sweating takes place, then waste products like salts and little bit of urea comes out. Otherwise, if it is cold, we don't sweat. So actually we cannot think as skin as an excretory organ. Next is synthesis of vitamin D. The skin can synthesize, can make vitamin D when it is exposed to sunshine. You know, vitamin D is also known as sunshine vitamin. Okay, so this is a very minor function, very small function, and its mechanism is not yet fully understood. Like, we don't know how vitamin D is formed in the skin when it is exposed to the sunlight, but of course it is produced in the skin. Now, but too much sunshine may cause tanning and other ill effects, including even skin cancer. So it is not good to stay in the sun for a long time. Okay, only we need to stay in the sun for a little while, which is enough, which will suffice for making of vitamin D. Now, next is grip, that is when you hold something. Okay, now, have you noticed, like, if you keep on playing with water, what happens to the tip of your fingers? It wrinkles up, puckers up. Okay, and puckered skin actually gives a better grip in slippery and wet environment. Why? It is a way by which it will help you give more grip. You can hold on to slippery and wet environments. Now, moving on to the structure of the skin, the main components of the human skin are: first is the skin proper, made up of epidermis, which has conified, granular, and germinative layers, and the other one is dermis, which has elastic fibers, blood vessels, and nerves. And then next you have derivatives of the skin, which are hair, nails, mammary glands, sweat glands, and sebaceous glands. Now, when we look at the skin proper under a microscope, you will see that it is made up of two layers, the outer epidermis and the inner dermis. Okay, now the epidermis is the outer thinner part of the skin. It is made up of stratified epithelium cells. Okay, they are piled. Stratified means piled. In the tissue chapter we had discussed stratified epithelium, if you remember. Okay, so they are piled up layer after layer, and at some places, like on the palms of our hands, soles of our feet, especially on the hills, if you feel it, you will see that the epidermis, they are thick and hard. Okay, it is devoid of blood vessels, means it does not have any blood vessels at certain places. That is why sometimes you can just put a safety pin through your thin uppermost layer of the skin. Now, the epidermis shows three regions: the outermost conified layer, the middle granular layer, and the inner malphigian layer. So let's take a quick look here. There, the outermost stratum corneum, or the conified layer, the middle granular layer, and innermost stratum malphigi, or the malphigian layer. Okay, now the conified layer, it's also known as the stratum corneum, is the outermost layer, and it has several piled up layers of flattened and dead cells. Remember, these cells are dead, they are flat. Okay, now these dead cells are made up of a fibrous structural protein which is known as keratin. Keratin is found in nails, hairs, horns, hooves, and silk. Okay, now since they are dead cells, they are continually thrown away, and they are worn away and shed and are replaced from beneath by those coming out from the malphigian layer. So continuously these skins are like pushed outside. That is why our nail grows, our hair grows. Why? Because these dead cells are being pushed outside. Okay, now the conified layer is tough, it is hard, and offers resistance to three things: mechanical damage, bacterial infection, and loss of water by evaporation. So the stratum corneum has three functions. It helps us against, or it offers resistance against mechanical damage, does not allow bacterial infection, and does not allow loss of water by evaporation. Now next is the granular layer, the second layer. It is a very thin middle layer. It is made up of 2 or 3 sub-layers of flattened cells. Okay, then of course they will move further forward to form the conified layer, that is the outermost layer. Now, the third layer is the Malpighian layer, stratum malpighi, also called germinative layer, okay? Innermost region of the epidermis. Its cells can actively divide. So in the Malpighian layer, you will see cell division, actively dividing cells to produce new cells, which press and shift outward, because you see in the conified layer there are dead cells, and from the granular layer it is being pushed outside. So it is in the third layer, in the stratum malpighi or the Malpighian layer, where cell division takes place, which keep on pressing and shifting outwards to replace the worn out cells of the outermost conified layer. Now, coloration of the skin, the complexion of the face, whether you are fair, whether you are dark, whether you are brown, whether you are black, is due to a pigment called melanin. And this melanin you'll find in the Malpighian layers. The cells in the Malpighian layer contains this pigment melanin. Now, the different quantities of this pigment in different human races lead to form very light brown to dark coloration of the skin, okay? Now, African Negroes, you know, have a genetically dark colored skin. That means they have lots of melanin in their skin. The Europeans, light colored, whitish, they have less melanin in their skin. And most Indians have an intermediate color, that is brown or wheatish skin. That is, melanin is up to a certain like medium level, okay? Now, in fair colored people also if continuous exposure is there to sunlight, their face, other parts of the body will get tanned due to production of more melanin. Actually, melanin is produced in the skin to protect against the ultraviolet rays of the sun, okay? But again, if the exposure to the sunlight is cut down, what will happen? Again, they will get back the original skin color. Before I move on to the abnormal conditions of skin pigmentation, children, your assignment for this week is to draw this diagram. That is the vertical section of human skin, and submit it day after tomorrow along with chemistry assignment, okay? And for your chemistry assignment, turn to the chapter Atomic Structure and Chemical Bonding and draw the orbit structure of sodium chloride, magnesium chloride and calcium oxide, and you will submit it day after tomorrow together. Remember, children, that the skin pigment, that is melanin, it acts like an umbrella to protect the inner parts of our body from harmful effects of the ultraviolet rays of the sunlight, which can cause skin cancer. So it is good to have melanin in the body. That is why when we are exposed to the sun, more melanin is produced in our body. Okay, now there are two abnormal conditions of the skin, where first one is known as leukoderma or vitiligo. Okay, in this case, you will see the skin pigmentation, that is melanin, is lost from small patches, or it may be from larger patches at different parts of the body. You must have seen such skin conditions. Okay, and till now the exact cause of the disease is not yet known. The next one is albinism. Albinism means complete loss of pigmentation. That is, the person who suffers from albinism will not have any melanin in the skin. Okay, so there is complete loss of pigmentation of the skin all over the body, including the hair. The hair is also white, eyebrows are also white, eyelashes are also white, and even the iris of the eye, inside the eye, the black part of the eye also won't have any pigment in it. The skin of such people is pink in color, appears pinkish because of the underlying blood capillaries. Okay, because of the blood capillaries, the skin will look pink in color. Albinism is a recessive trait. That is, this is genetic. Okay, due to inheritance, genetics. That is, it is coming from parents. An albino couple would produce all albino children. So you will learn more about this in the part 2 of your book. So children, I stop here for today. So until the next upload, children, stay safe and God bless you.